How edging to porn destroys mental health. Got a few notes here. I'm going to read out probably about 3 points today. So the first one is you're strengthening the addicted neural pathways. So I used to do this like edging. I didn't really know what edging was until I was doing it, and then came across it on the internet and figured out like, whoa, okay, I was edging quite a lot. Essentially what you're doing when you're edging is you're prolonging the masturbation time and looking at sexual content time without actually orgasming. And you're kind of getting like edging. It's like, you're edging closer and closer to orgasm without actually orgasming, right? So what you're doing in those moments is, imagine you have like these neurons in your brain and you got like one here and one here. What you're doing is you're basically, neurons that fire together wire together. So you got like a brain map, and it's like you're putting these neurons together for like a longer period of time. So what's happening in your brain is like you're associating the sexual pleasure with pornography for prolonged periods of time, which is just like strengthening those addicted neural pathways and just getting like tighter and tighter, which is actually just making it way harder for you to actually quit this addiction. The problem is, what's going to happen is in your brain, you're going to say to yourself, this is what I did, is, oh, well, I'm only going to do this once. I'm not going to look for a long period of time. Or you're going to say to yourself, this will be the last time. Tomorrow, back on day one, I'm going to quit for good. This will be the last time ever. And so that becomes the junky thinking, the excuse, the rationalization, which leads to you edging longer and longer because you're like, well, this is the last time. Like, I've got to get as much in now as possible so then I won't do this again. But all that's going on is like you're strengthening these addictive neural pathways. The addiction's getting more and more reinforced in your brain. What happens is desire creates more desire. When you give in to desire, it only creates more desire. When it comes to pornography, that desire cannot be satiated by pornography. What you've got to do instead is choose to willingly accept some temporary discomfort. Where people go wrong is they think that, okay, I'm going to start looking at some porn and then the desire is going to go away because then I've got my fix and, I'll be good again. Imagine you're like really, really hungry for food. You go out and you go and get some food. Okay, well, now the hunger's gone. That's not what happens when it comes to porn. What happens with porn is you look at some porn and you don't actually orgasm. What's going to happen is you're just going to want to look at more porn. So then you're looking for longer and longer and longer, and in your mind you're thinking that this desire is going to be satiated. You think, oh, I'm just going to have a quick look. But that's never the reality. Instead, all you're doing is strengthening the addictive neural pathways, creating more desire, because dopamine is the molecule of more. It just creates more, and more. And then what's going to happen, and this is where things go really quite wrong for you, and what happened to me is that you then end up feeling a lot of shame because now you're looking at some stuff that doesn't align with your sexual values at all. Now you're looking at some weird shit on Instagram or Twitter or Pornhub, and you're like, whoa, like how did I end up here? And then when you do orgasm, you finish, you're like, Jesus Christ, the post-nut clarity hits, the prefrontal cortex is back online, and you're like, what have I just done? How on earth did I end up looking at that sexual content? And then you're feeling a ton of shame, and you're like, oh my God, like, I never want to end up there again. God, how have I just wasted an hour masturbating over random people on a screen and things that I'm disgusted by now. I'm repelled by it. That's what happens when you edge to porn. It destroys your mental health because you end up looking at stuff that you don't want to be looking at. You end up wasting hours and hours. You end up strengthening the addictive neural pathways more than ever. Now, all of this can be avoided. So how do we avoid it? Let's start off by identifying some of the junky thoughts that are going on which leads to edging in the first place. The first one, as I say, is definitely thinking that tomorrow I'm going to stop for good. Okay. We really want to just get rid of that thought entirely because it's future thinking. It's irrelevant to your choice in the moment right now. Let's say it's 5 o'clock in the evening. You've already looked at porn a little bit and now you're debating, well, I may as well look at more porn because I've already relapsed. I've already messed up. And so you go and look at more porn and then you start edging and then you get into looking at more and more sexual content. We can flip that entirely. If we get rid of the thought that, tomorrow's day one and we get away from the nofap streaks entirely and we just actually focus on addiction recovery. In this moment right now, it's 5 o'clock. I've just looked at porn once. What am I going to do now? Okay, option A, option B. Yes, I want to look at porn right now because I've already given in and looked at porn. And what that does is that creates more desire But in this moment, I still have a choice. I've always got my choice. In this moment, right now, I'm conscious and aware that I've got this desire. I want to engage in porn. I want to go on edge. I want to go look at some sexual content. Okay, well, what am I going to do? Well, I know if I look at porn more, that's only going to create more desire. That's only going to strengthen the addictive neural pathways more. It's only going to lead to more shame, more regret, more anxiety, more frustration, a lack of confidence, a lack of energy, like a lack of all the things I actually want in my life. Okay, well, in that moment, what am I going to do? Instead, I'm going to willingly accept the temporary discomfort of this withdrawal, of this craving, and instead I'm going to choose to change the addictive neural pathways. Instead, I'm going to embrace permanent mental freedom. I'm going to embrace energy, confidence, feeling proud of myself, in control, and changing the addictive neural pathways. That's the key thing in that moment. So it's not really about tomorrow. It's not about what I've done in the past. It's about getting present again and realizing right now in this moment, I am wanting to engage in my compulsive behaviour, but here's the amazing thing. I have a choice. I am in control of myself. And if I choose to look at more porn, that's only going to destroy my mental health way more. And it doesn't matter what I've done in the past. So if you ever have already looked at porn and you're like, okay, may as well look at more porn, may as well edge, just reframe it entirely. Imagine you're 1 year down the line. In that moment, are you going to make a choice to look at porn, or are you going to go, okay, I am going to willingly accept some temporary discomfort, I've got an urge, and just take it like moment by moment? Because if you get all caught up in what's going to happen tomorrow or in the past, the addictive part of the mind is just going to walk all over you. You're not going to be present at all, and you're going to go and use some junky thinking to excuse and rationalize your behavior and continue looking at porn for a long period of time, which is just going to destroy your mental health. Now, this happened to me. I don't want it to happen for you as well. So make your choice in that moment, get present, realize that actually it doesn't matter what you've done in the past, because you have a choice right now to stop at any moment, and that's never going to change. No one can take away that choice. You actually have way more freedom and control over your mind than you think, and that you're led to believe by the rest of the world and all the terrible advice out there that consents, that creates more helplessness within you, like all the remove the triggers and no fap advice out there that actually is just making things worse. So just trust me when I say you actually always have this choice, and I say this from experience, and I say it from the experience of many of our clients. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope it does help you somehow. If you want to learn more about the Beyond Compulsion method, which has been taught to me by Mary Paulus, I do recommend the free training video. There is a link in the description, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.